steer it up. Little darling, steer it up. Come on, Leanda. Come on and steer it up. Little darling, steer it up. Breakfast with Bob.
Poncho Man.
Yeehaw.
Yeah, love that. We're presented by ES Sports Nutrition, Cliff Bar, Timex Roca, Tanya Pura Resort, Rudy Project, and you're watching us on Slow Twitch. Leanda Cave, we haven't chatted in a while. How are you?
Good, good, very good.
Now, you were saying that the weather here has been crazy nuts. You've been here a lot of years.
Yeah, and I came out here 4 weeks before the race.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, we have this phenomenon called the El Nino, and
Yeah.
it's really changing things up here with the weather. When I got here, it was crazy warm, crazy humid. Now it's definitely cooled down, and the winds have kicked up, and probably the strongest winds I've ever experienced up in
Really?
Harvey. Yeah. And who knows, like that, it could change on race day, but it's definitely something I'm going to be considering for the race. Like, what we
Crazy.
do in the winds.
Now, the other thing that I notice is you have a hot new ride. I have not seen the Quantum before. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Ventum.
Ventum.
It's a production or product of my boyfriend and his business partner, Jimmy Sears, also
Yeah.
a pro triathlete. They've come up with this bike with integrated hydration on the frame. It's also missing a down tube, and so it actually is very effective in the wind because it doesn't catch so much wind as
Right.
normal traditional triathlon bikes. So that's definitely going to help me for the race. It's also been extremely fast in the wind tunnel, so that's also very exciting.
And it's fun to be on something new.
It
That's
is,
different.
it is. And there's two athletes, Carl Buckingham, we're racing on it as
Yeah.
well. So there's two of us here and a few age groupers on the bike. So it's really, really fun stuff.
Well, if you look back, Natasha Bodman and Steve Larson and Lori Bowden, Cheetah, Hada, those were similar type of bikes without that too.
Exactly. So, you know, this is, I guess, the way the bike world is developing, especially in triathlon. New products coming on the market which don't fit into the typical TT road cycling mold.
So 2012, you win here. And you also won 70.3 Worlds that year, correct? And Alcatraz.
Yeah, crushed it that year.
Yeah, it was a good year, huh?
And then what happened? I don't know.
So how hard is it to, because you're, as a triathlete who's been in this sport forever and ever and ever, to win what is a very, very important event? How tough is it to go, okay, what's next? And to retrain to do the same thing again?
You know, I felt like I could. I felt like the year when I won all those races,
Yeah.
I really wasn't at my peak.
Right.
And I guess I went into 2013 thinking, oh, I can crush it again.
Sure.
And, so I stepped up and got into training way too soon and all that. And yeah, I mean, I paid the price. I got injured early on, and from there it sort of went south for the last 18 months. And I had some good races last
Yes.
year. 2014, I finally got through all my rehab and stuff. And it was a slow journey back to fitness. But I got here really in a bad place. I got so excited that I was fit and healthy to race again, and I overdid it last year before coming into Kona, and pretty much felt like I was on holiday here, not here to race. You know,
Right.
I just wanted to sleep and do absolutely nothing. So this year I've dialed back the racing, which is very unusual for me. Normally I'm a
You like to race.
I mean, racing's what I find the
Yeah,
fun
yeah.
part, right? You know, training is really hard and it
Yeah.
sucks, and you put so much on the line to train all day, every day, and racing's actually the reward for that. So I get really excited about racing. So it was kind of a little tough for me to make that decision not to race so much this year. But I feel at the end of the day, my big goal is succeeding here in Kona, and I know I've done it before, and I know I can do it again. So I really just thought, okay, head to the grindstone, and let's just plug away
Right.
at training and get those big blocks in that really helped me succeed in 212.
What impressed me the most in 2012 is that was one of the gutsier races I'd ever seen, because you're running along, Marinda Carfrae is blowing through the field, and she comes up behind you, and everybody's like, okay, Marinda's going to go by Leanda, she's going to go by Caroline, she's going to go win the race. And you pulled away. And then you caught Caroline, and then you won the race.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen very often where somebody runs away from Miranda Carfrae and not just doing that, but then still had enough to go and win the race.
Yeah, I mean, it still, gives me goosebumps thinking
Yeah.
about that. And that's typically how Miranda races. She does come from behind and she does have that weapon, which is her run, and she can, crawl her way back into the front of the race from behind.
Yeah.
And I guess we're all the athletes out there have her in the back of our head knowing that she is potentially the only athlete who can do that and has typically done that since, I
Right.
think. So,
Yeah.
and she got, again, Daniela Reef last year and Rachel
with
Joyce the year before. And
Yep.
so it was, I guess, for me, a very unique situation I was in where I didn't even know she was there anyway, but I actually pulled away and she went the other way instead of passing me.
Right.
So, and I've been really working hard on that. I think everyone knows this comes down to a running race for the women. And I mean, not taking anything away from the bike and the swim.
You have to do it all, but at
Yeah.
the end of the day,
But it's it's a running race for us. If you want to win this race, you've got to be able to run pretty damn well, and that's going to mean at least a
Sub-
3-hour
I was
marathon,
gonna say,
at
sub 3,
least.
yeah.
Daniela did a 3:07 last year, but she rode extremely well. And still didn't have enough,
Right.
You've got to really make that gap big enough on the bike and in this race between those girls who can come up and run and then also hold on to that speed through the whole marathon.
so your background was the Olympics, Commonwealth Games. How tough was it to transition from that format to 70.3 and Ironman?
It was very tough. I mean, I feel like they're two different sports.
They are different sports. Yeah.
I've said this a lot, that the Olympic distance, you can kind of go all out for, and even there's the sprint distance now in the ITU as well. You can go for an hour, 2 hours, really not having to concern yourself too much about nutrition and,
Right.
and pacing. It's essentially balls to the walls for,
Yes.
the whole time, like redlining it. And so for me, I had a huge problem making that mental adjustment and also the nutritional adjustment, where I actually had to consider getting calories in and how many calories I need per hour. And obviously here you've got the heat, that's a huge factor, and taking in things like salt and electrolytes. So for me, it was a big learning curve. And I think if I'd had started doing Ironman initially, I probably had been a little bit more educated as what it would take.
Mm-hmm.
But I came in ignorant, I guess, a little naive, and I thought, I'll be fine. It's just 4 Olympic distances back to back, and it's really not.
As an Olympic distance athlete, what was an Olympic format where draft legal? What was your best race when you look back?
I was always the girl who could swim and bike and
Yeah.
never really run. And I worked so hard on my run. And I finally got to a point, I believe, in about 2002 where I was a threat.
So running became a weapon.
Yeah, I got off the bike and people were like, oh, damn, this girl can run now, So I would say any race in that year. It was also the year I won in Cancun, the World Championships and
Commonwealth Games, got a silver.
Yeah, so I kind of guess that was the year I put myself on the map as being not just a swim bike specialist, but the complete package, a triathlete.
Right. When I looking at the variety of races that you've done, from Wildflower, Alcatraz, you like things that are different, right? Alcatraz there's some grit to it, right? Wildflower is a gritty race because it's hard. There's wind, there's heat, there's hills, all that type of stuff. Alcatraz is cold water and sand ladders, and this race is all of that. That seems to appeal to you.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I'm someone who's always gone a little bit against the grain.
Yeah.
But these races, I feel people are scared of them. They're
Yes.
scared of hurting, and they're scared of going up hills. And this for me is you know what? I'm really up for the challenge. I want anything that challenges me, because you see so often those races where people are just going and cruising along, and it's not really, it's for me as an athlete, it's not all that exciting. I want to race, and I guess I get a lot of fun out of challenging myself.
Right.
Yeah.
And being the first person to win 70.3 and full Ironman the same year, first woman to do that, that's pretty cool.
It is. It really is. It came as much surprise to me as everybody else.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I feel like pretty honored to be the first woman to do that. Still to this day, who knows what happens this weekend? We've got Danielle Reef gunning for it again,
Exactly.
and I'm going to be doing everything I can to stop her. But yeah, it's very cool to have that accolade for sure.
You seem to be in a really good place. I mean, you seem to be like rejuvenated. I mean, it's when you come off of winning Ironman. It's 3 years ago. It's not like it was a century ago. It's 3 years ago. Do you feel more motivated and inspired now than maybe you were the last couple of years, or you just feel healthy?
Yeah, a lot has happened over the last few years, and I've had for the first time a great training block. I mean, I suffered like a bitch through summer. I'm going to admit. I'm living in Miami now. It's hot as hell there.
Hot, yeah.
It's so humid. I suffered every day. I never quit. I suffered every day through training, up at 5 every bloody morning, and I mean, I'm so over listening to an alarm go off. It's not funny. So that's the one thing I want is no alarms for like at least a month after this race. But I know it's what it takes. I know that's the sort of work you have to do to be here in good shape, and I'm ready. I feel like I've done everything that I could possibly do to be ready for this race, and that's a good position to be in, and it's a good feeling to have. And I feel the previous years, last year I knew I came in here pretty cooked. The year before that I knew I was coming in here injured. So these little things that sit at the back of your head saying you're injured, you're
right.
tired, they really weigh on you. And this year, I mean, I've got nothing. I'm just like, bring on the race.
And when you look at the women's field, you also seem like the type of person you want to go against the very best, right?
I do.
You want Marinda, you want Caroline, you want everybody there having the best race they can possibly have, and you want to beat them.
Yeah, I've always been that way. I mean, I'm a very competitive person, so I really don't like doing races that really are cherry pickers or, and unfortunately there's so many races out there to choose from that unfortunately a lot of the races do end up being cherry pickers for a lot of athletes these days. And, I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. There's so many things to choose from. I mean, on some given weekends you can have 5 70.3 or half Ironman distance races with a decent prize purse, so it's not our fault.
No.
It's just like I like to find the races where I can have a good race, and I think the Ironman Texas race I did this year was a lot of fun. Angela and I were battling it out there, and we both said afterwards that was so much fun, like to race you and actually feel like you've got someone pushing. Yeah. Someone trying to break you and you responding. I mean, that's what it's all about. And here, you don't get races like this often, especially in Ironman. There's just not that many races where you got such a great caliber of athletes on the start line.
What would it mean to you to win for the second time? And there's a fair number of one-timers, right? People have won one time.
Yeah.
And winning twice sort of validates things.
I know, and I really, really wanted to, after I won in 2:12, to back up and perform here. And I guess that's really where I'm at right now. I'm ready to do that. I'm ready to step on the start line and really give it a shot of reclaiming the crown, if you like.
I love that. Leanda, thanks so much. I've missed having you with us for the last couple of years.
I'm happy to be back here.
Love it. Leanda Cave has been our guest, 2012 Ironman World Champion. About a round of applause from our huge studio audience. Woo! Mr. Poncho Man, take us out.
Come on and steer it up, little darling, steer it up. Come on, baby, breakfast with Bob and Leanda.
Poncho Man!
Hello, everybody.
Woo!